It had been almost a year since my breakup, and I felt like I was ready to integrate myself back into the dating market. So I tried cold approaching girls here and there, but I didn't really see any success with that. It seemed like my skills had gotten blunt just a few months I was away. So I decided to use a little shortcut, a little hack, which was simply dating apps. I created my profile, set up the whole thing, posted a few pictures I was good looking in, and voila, I was in the game. My friend had told me about his experience using dating apps in the past, and he said it was a really terrible one. He said everybody on there was just weird and they were never ever as they seemed in real life. I mean, I didn't really doubt what he was saying, but come on, he couldn't be right. Not everybody there had to be weird. There had to be a certain percentage of people that were actually normal and pleasant to meet with. So I decided to give it a shot. Like, there's no harm in trying, you know. I kept seeing girl after girl after girl after girl after girl. It felt like there were so many options. I didn't even know which one to choose. But the thing I did notice though was a lot of girls I would send a request to, they would just ignore me and won't get back to me. I mean, I definitely wasn't the best looking guy, but hey, I had put a little bit of effort into those pictures I took. I knew I looked attractive there. And every once in a while I would match with a few, but the whole thing would just die in the small talk phase. Until one day I matched with this girl. Her name was Angela. She was really pretty, looked perfect, looked like everything was going really well. And when I chatted her up, we hit it off immediately. She had the vibes, she was really funny, she was responding properly, and I was really eager to meet this girl. So I asked her out, I set up a date and we both agreed to go on this date. On the day of the date, I got stuck in traffic and I wasn't able to make it on time. I guess my stupid ass should have put somewhere that was nearby and not somewhere so far away that I would have to actually commute for a few minutes before I get there. But after fighting through traffic and trying to make it on time and telling her to be patient, I finally got there. I had the picture of her pulled up on my phone as I had glanced through the restaurant trying to find where she was, but I didn't see her anywhere. I then asked her where she was. Then she told me the table she was sitting at. I walked towards the corner of the restaurant to the table where she said she was at, but I still didn't see her. A girl then rose around and waved over at me from 2 tables away. I looked back at the picture and looked at this girl that waved at me, and they looked like 2 completely different people. Doubt started to cloud my mind. Could she be the one? Nah, probably not. I kept looking around to see if I would see Angela. You know, maybe the girl was just a random girl trying to call somebody else. Then my phone rang and it was Angela. I picked the call and the same girl that waved at me was also holding her phone in her ear, and she said I should come towards the table. So this was Angela. I went to the table and sat at the opposite side of her. She seemed very excited to see me, but me, not so much anymore. Wait, you're Angela? I asked again just to be sure. Yes, of course, she replied. I looked at the picture of her on my phone once again, then I looked at her in person. And it was then I started to notice some similarities. Her eye color were actually the same, her facial structure was pretty similar, and a few other things like that. It was just in the picture she made herself look 10 times more beautiful than she actually was in real life, to the point where they started looking like 2 completely different people. And obviously I'm not to say you shouldn't make yourself look good on pictures, like I only post my best pictures, but this to me was a little bit concerning. So I tried to put my concern down and just go along with the date, and she was literally the opposite of the person I was chatting with online. Very boring, very self-centered, very mannerless, and a whole bunch of other things that were just instant red flags to me. I had at first planned to pay for both of us before I saw her in person, but after seeing this, I only decided I was going to pay for myself. When it was time to pay and the waiter came around, I told him we were going to pay individually. She looked over at me with complete disgust on her face. No, he's going to pay for us, she quickly said back to the waiter. The waiter, a little bit confused, looking at me for the final say. I stood by my word. I told him to split the bill 50-50. All of a sudden, Angela really started to get heated. She started to scream and shout and curse at me, and she still refused, saying she wasn't going to pay. I was going to pay for both of us. At this point, I paid the waiter. I just stood up and left. I couldn't take any of this drama no more. As I was walking towards the door, she kept yelling and screaming, literally causing a scene in the restaurant. Everybody's attention was on us as they watched the drama. I just kept walking and tried to ignore her. At this point, I was already very tired, exhausted, and disappointed. Just as I was about to open the door and leave, I felt a very sharp pain at the back of my head. Then something exploded behind me. I fell down as my head started to ring. Everywhere wet, wine shards on the ground. I looked at my body, seeing my clothes covered in red. At first I thought it was blood, but then the smell of alcohol came alongside it. I looked at the ground, I saw glass shards everywhere. It was then it all made sense. She had thrown a bottle of red wine directly at the back of my head. My blood started to boil. Everybody literally stood up at this point, gathering around. This was definitely a scene. Everybody waiting for my reaction. I wanted to retaliate, grab that bitch by the neck and strangle her to death, but I decided not to. I just opened the door and left. I took the nearest taxi I saw and headed home. When I checked myself at home, I noticed the wine bottle didn't do too much damage to the back of my head. Yes, I had a little cut at the back, but it wasn't anything serious. I usually would like to watch a movie before I go to bed, but that night I didn't even do that, so I just went to bed. The next day, I continued my daily routine as usual, and while I was going about my day, I started getting phone calls. I looked at the name and saw it was Angela, so I just ignored it. Why wouldn't I even block her number? I thought to myself. Then text after text after text. I didn't bother to read any of them because they were all like paragraphs long. But the few words my eyes glanced at were, she was sorry, she didn't know what came over her, and she overreacted, and she has this anger issue problem, and blah blah blah. I didn't even care. I just blocked her immediately, deleted her number. But deleting her number wasn't even enough. I went to the dating app and deleted it itself. My friend was right. Dating apps are not worth it. Everybody there is always weird, and they are never ever what they seem to be in real life. And ever since then, I've never used any dating apps ever again. I'm very sure you just enjoyed the video you watched right now. If you want to learn how to digitally express yourself online, that's using technology to create, to be an artist, just click the first link in the description. That's going to show you my entire creative process of how I come up with ideas to how I make the finished product, and how you can do the same for yourself also. Just click the first link in the description.